Welcome back to the Upside Sports Network. Appreciate you guys joining us for our daily update for August 11th. As you guys might have noticed, I haven't put out the podcast yet. That will be dropping later on this evening. That way you guys can listen to it tomorrow morning. That will be dropping on Anchor. We'll post that on Twitter as soon as it's posted this evening. It is uploading right now, so really appreciate all your support. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Thank you, James, for joining us. I really like the new daily updates. Lots of information, zero filler. Love the rapid fire style. Keep it up, man. Thank you, James. Appreciate it. Did I watch the Field of Dreams game tonight or preseason football? I watched a little bit of the Field of Dreams game, but didn't have too much time because I was trying to get everything else done for you guys. But really appreciate all the support that you guys have given me over the past week, or well, pretty much since I started this, but especially over the past couple weeks. But thank you guys very much. Really appreciate it. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Right off the top, anyway, let's start with Major League Baseball. Anyway, Julio Rodriguez is back for the Seattle Mariners. Expect them to really take off here over the next couple of weeks with J-Rod back in that lineup. That swagger should return. They have Mitch Haniger now, so that lineup is even more potent. Ty France is healthy. They also got Kurt Casale off of the injured list as well. He was one of their acquisitions at the deadline to kind of fill in some roster spots as they had injuries. Right up until the deadline, but they seem to have managed to weather those injuries and still hold down a wild card spot. Fantastic job by the Mariners holding their own while they waited for J-Rod to get back. Luis Castillo should really prove to be quite a valuable piece for them, not just this year, but next year as well. They need to get that contract extension done sooner rather than later. Next up, we got some news finally on Bryce Harper. It seems that he was still recovering anyway from that injury that he had. He had a torn UCL in his right elbow. Unfortunately for him, that injury still seems to be bothering him enough to where he's experiencing some stiffness still in that right elbow. Had started taking part in a throwing program, but unfortunately he's had to stop doing that right now. It's the Phillies are wondering if they're going to get him back at all at this season. They're even wondering if he's going to have to end up having Tommy John surgery. Now, everybody in baseball worries when you hear the words Tommy John. Don't worry, of course, because position players, it doesn't affect as much as, say, a position player. But this is still a big injury for Bryce Harper, and it sounds like he might miss the rest of the year, unfortunately for him. Next up from baseball, anyway, there wasn't much news, but more news out of the Philadelphia Phillies is that Schwarber had to leave the game anyway with a mild calf strain. So things are just not going the Phillies' way right now on the injury front. Of course, they made some nice additions at the trade deadline to really bolster that lineup. They apparently are really going to need those additions because they're not. It doesn't sound like they're going to be getting Bryce Harper back. All right, let's move on to the NFL. Running back Ronald Jones, formerly of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is now with the Kansas City Chiefs, signed in free agency there. It sounds like he might be on the outside looking in as far as the roster is concerned. So the cut down to the 53 man. Their seventh round pick, anyway, seems to be ahead of him on the depth chart. They still have Jerick McKinnon there and Clyde Edward Hilaire. So we'll see if he's able to crack that rotation going forward. But it sounds like the preseason, he's going to be advertised more for other teams, trying to showcase his talent while they allow Edwards-Helaire to kind of stay healthy as they gear up for the regular season. A little bit of news of the New York Jets yet again. This is, I believe, the fourth daily update we've done, and all four of them, or a fifth daily update we've done, and all of them have had something to do with the New York Jets. More along that offensive line, they have indeed inked Dwayne Brown to a 2-year contract worth $22 million. That's a lot of money for a guy that's expected to fill in at least this year. We'll see if he still plays next year. I wonder how much guaranteed money is in that second year. But Mekhi Becton, of course, had that knee injury. He's going to miss the entire season. So Dwayne Brown immediately comes into that starting lineup anyway. Probably going to play right tackle. So we'll see how he does there. But the offensive line for the Jets just got a big improvement by bringing him in. The longtime Seattle Seahawk, Houston Texan as well, has had a very good year so far, or had a very good career so far. We'll see if he can continue that trend with the New York Jets. A little bit more news out of the Jets camp is that they're talking trade anyway for wide receiver Denzel Mims. For those of you wondering who exactly that is, former top draft pick anyway of the Jets a couple of years ago. He hasn't really found any level of success due to poor quarterback play, injuries, that kind of a thing. But it sounds like the Jets are willing to move on from him. There's four other receivers ahead of him on the depth chart right now at this point. So there's no point in keeping him around. See if you can get some value out of him. Maybe get a late fifth, sixth, seventh round pick at this point. But things have just not gone well for Denzel Mims. So good luck to him on his next team, wherever that may end up being. As far as the more news out of the Jimmy Garoppolo camp is that he may actually have an option now with the Cleveland Browns. We mentioned last night in the update that Deshaun Watson initially was expected to miss 6 games because that's what he was given by the arbiter, Sue Robinson. Well, it seems like the NFL has appealed that decision to Peter Harvey. Harvey apparently is siding with the NFL, and it sounds like he is going to miss at least a year. Now, of course, the NFL was pushing for an indefinite suspension. We'll see if they get that and leave it up to Goodell to see when he comes back. But it sounds like Deshaun Watson is not going to be around for the Browns this year. That's a definite blow to that team. They have a couple of decent backup quarterbacks, but nobody to really handle a 17-game season, especially with the playoff aspirations that they have now, bringing in Amari Cooper, etc. That offense is ready to go. They need competent quarterback play right now. And Jimmy Garoppolo, while he might not be the best quarterback in the world, certainly can hold down the job for 1 year while you wait for Deshaun Watson to clear up his legal issues and the issues with the NFL as far as the suspension. So, what might it take to get Jimmy Garoppolo? Well, just a day ago, we reported that Jimmy Garoppolo might even be cut by cutdown day. I wouldn't expect this deal to be very costly for them. Maybe the 49ers end up eating a little bit of that deal after the Browns had to eat a little bit of the Baker Mayfield money as well. Maybe just something like that will get things to work. Of course, the money that Watson is guaranteed this year is very small, but even so, with suspension, that won't necessarily count against the team. But Garoppolo would be a great fit for the Cleveland Browns, at least on a 1 year deal. Certainly is far better than anything they have at starting quarterback if Watson is indeed going to miss the entire season. Moving on, Tom Brady is expected to miss at least 10 days from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's going to miss both of the preseason games. Not a shock there. He wasn't expected to play in them anyway. I mean, he's Tom Brady. What doesn't he know about football right now? But this does hurt a little bit as far as his chemistry with the other receivers. Russell Gage went down with an injury the other day in a joint practice the other day. Julio Jones has since moved up on that depth chart. Russell Gage signed earlier this offseason from the Atlanta Falcons on a 2 year, $10 million deal. He is going to be out for at least a little bit of time. Meanwhile, Julio Jones, this could be the time where he could build a rapport with Tom Brady. That's not going to be the case because Tom Brady is going to be out for the next couple of weeks. We'll see how that ends up going. But again, Julio Jones has missed some time due to injury over the past couple of years. We'll see if he can stay healthy the rest of this preseason. And then as the season wears on, maybe you see him get some of those Gronkowski catches over the middle, etc., that Tom Brady really liked to throw to Gronk. Gronk, of course, is not there this year, so maybe this is kind of the Gronk replacement in this offense. Use him very limited type of a role, something like that. Other news out of the NFL anyway, James White has officially retired from the NFL. Longtime running back for the New England Patriots, won a couple of Super Bowls there with Tom Brady. Congratulations on a great career, James White. More news out of the Chicago Bears. Roquan Smith, some contract terms are coming out now as to what he's actually seeking after he was given a take it or leave it offer by Ryan Poles, the GM of the Chicago Bears. Sounds like he's wanting at least $20 million a year. Now, we'll see if that ends up being guaranteed or not, but it sounds like he really wants that AAV to be really high. For those of you wondering, AAV is average annual value. So that'd be a great contract for a middle linebacker. He is entering the final year of his deal, has not gotten off on the right foot with the head coach or management staff there. He is participating in a hold-in right now as he tries to showcase his leadership there to the team that he's playing for and to other teams by not allowing this situation to affect his on-field performance. Last news out of the NFL, N'Keal Harry for the Chicago Bears. He was traded there this offseason from the New England Patriots. Had really high hopes for him when he was drafted there to New England, just hasn't been able to stay on the field. Really never developed a rapport with any of the quarterbacks there with the New England Patriots. Now on his second team, it sounds like that injury is going to keep him out for at least 8 weeks. Things are not off to a good start with his career with the Chicago Bears. They showed a clip of him anyway in the news article that I saw where Fields overthrew him by a good 15 yards. So it wasn't like he was already clicking with Justin Fields, but he would have been a nice addition to that offense if they were able to get something out of him. But it sounds like, unfortunately, it's not going to happen, at least not this season, or at least the first half of the season anyway. Only the news out of the NBA anyway of any significance is that Bill Russell is going to have his number retired across the entire league. This will be the first number retired in the entire NBA. It'll be number 6. The players who are currently wearing number 6, like LeBron James, will be grandfathered in and allowed to continue to wear that number 6. But that's it. No more after that. Bill Russell's number will hang in the rafters forevermore across all the teams around the NBA. Congratulations on a great career. Congratulations on a great post career. Just congratulations on being a fantastic human being, Bill Russell. Wish you could have been alive for this honor, for you to enjoy this honor while you were alive. But posthumously, I'm very happy for you. And congratulations, Bill Russell, on having your number retired. On to the NHL. A couple bits of news out of there anyway. We'll start on the smaller side. Todd Nelson, former head coach and former bench boss, or bench coach anyway, for the Dallas Stars, has signed with the Hershey Bears, a affiliate of the Washington Capitals anyway. You might remember Todd Nelson won the Calder Cup in 2017 with the Grand Rapids. Washington Capitals are trying to improve their development phase of their organization. Todd Nelson is a great fit for that. So we'll see if they can continue to build up that pipeline as Ovechkin continues to get older. Only other news out of the NHL is that Robin Leonard is going to miss the entire season due to a hip injury. He had surgery today anyway, and he's going to miss the entire season. There are questions about whether his career is over as well. For those of you wondering, wait, wasn't that the guy they chose over going with Marc-Andre Fleury? Yes, that's the same Robin Leonard that they chose to trade away Marc-Andre Fleury for Robin Leonard. Things have not gone well for the Vegas Golden Knights over the past 5-6 months anyway. First, of course, they trade away Max Pacioretty in a kind of a pure salary dump. Then agents start telling their players, hey, if you end up going to the Vegas Golden Knights, understand you're probably not going to finish your career there or finish that contract out there, as they might have to move you off just because of salary purposes. So things have not gone well there. They still are able to make the moves that they want for now. And the PR nightmare that is coming isn't there yet. Just imagine the first losing season. That's when those issues where you're going to trade us away for salary purposes and we're not winning even still. That's when you start losing interest in free agents coming to Vegas. But Vegas is Vegas. They're still going to be able to attract some level of free agents to go there. But this is not a good look for that franchise. And now the poor decision making at goaltender, letting Marc-Andre Fleury be traded away in the before the end of the season last year, going to the Minnesota Wild and signing that 2-year extension this offseason with the Minnesota Wild, 2 years, $7 million. I think the Vegas Golden Knights would be very happy to have Marc-Andre Fleury back. Too bad it's not going to work out that way. You ask who might be the solution for them in net right now. They signed a 2-year extension with Laurent Brossoit to be their goaltender. He signed a 2-year, $4.65 million deal, I believe. So about two and a third $1 million per year for a kind of a backup goaltender. He is still a backup, so they're going to have to bring in a goaltender at some point. There's a lot of options still out there, but none of them nearly as good as the one they traded away at the deadline last year in Marc-Andre Fleury. The other option, of course, is Michael Hutchinson. He's already under contract for the Vegas Golden Knights. Again, don't expect much out of him. He's also a career backup, not somebody you're going to count on to play 60 games for you and win you a playoff series. It's just not going to happen. So the Vegas Golden Knights have some work to do. Just to kind of recap everything, Julio Rodriguez is back for the Seattle Mariners. Bryce Harper may miss the entire year and may end up having to have Tommy John surgery, unfortunately for him. Kyle Schwarber had a mild calf strain for the Phillies, so not good news for the Phillies. Great news for the Mariners, though, getting back the AL Rookie of the Year, very likely anyway. The Jets signed Dwayne Brown to help solidify that offensive line. Jimmy Garoppolo may be an option for the Cleveland Browns now that Deshaun Watson is likely to miss the entire year if that suspension is increased to an entire year or even to an indefinite length of time. James White retired. Tom Brady's going to miss a couple weeks of camp anyway, as he has personal issues. This was all pre-planned anyway, so the team knew about this going into the offseason. They're just happy to have Tom Brady back, as I'm sure all Buccaneers fans are. The NBA, Bill Russell's number is going to be retired posthumously. Unfortunately, I really would have liked to have seen him be alive for that honor. He is the first number to ever be retired in the entire NBA. Congratulations, Bill Russell. And what a great career, great humanitarian he was. And nobody deserves it more than Bill Russell. And the NHL, of course, Robin Leonard is going to be out for the entire year. And we'll see how the Vegas Golden Knights try to rebound from this after trading away Marc-Andre Fleury last at the trade deadline this past season. They now have work to do back in net. Thank you guys for joining us again. We'll be posting that that podcast overnight anyway for you guys. So make sure you guys join us on Twitter anyway. Follow us at Upside SN. Make sure you hit the subscribe button here on YouTube. Really would hope if you haven't joined us already, make sure you hit that button. It really does help us out, trying to gain as many subscribers as we can as we get closer and closer to that 700 mark. Thank you guys very much for joining us. And again, we'll see you guys tomorrow evening.